we're talking, I think you said something so important. You said before I even started getting, images of like doing my business and Mercedes, that's what you use example. You're like, I needed this. And I'm like, I think this is where we're supposed to be for us. I know with your other friend that you are doing the business. I think for us, we are all in the mindset for real. Like, let's heal this so we can actually have proper relationships and really start to show up powerfully in what we have. So I like that.
because
And I think
people
we're
buy
helping.
into people.
Yeah.
If I had, met a woman, or had somebody that was giving me this back then, I would have sold 1,000 cupcakes for $5 to afford the money, or saved all of my money from work, and my ex-husband pay everything, and I would have saved every dime to invest in and to have her be my coach or help me. Anything that I probably didn't even have to know her back then. If 8, 7, 9 years ago, if I had somebody giving me this, I would have done it. Hungry as I was, as hungry and driven and focused as I was, that girl in the hood trying to figure things out, I would have find out a way. If she told me to give her $1,000 and she was going to change my life, I probably would have done that. Because even though I grew up in the hood, I didn't come from slum, right? Always felt like I had to date the guy that was making the most money. I came from money, hood rich, all this type of stuff, right? We always look nice and all of that. But we were in the hood. We still were struggling. Like when you grow up in the city, people do struggle, but they make sure they fly. They make sure they got new cars. They make sure they wear the top best clothes. That's how I came up, right? So I didn't care, or I wasn't stuck on, I need the Mercedes Benz. I need the penthouse. I need the yacht parties. I wasn't stuck on it. My thing was, what do I have to do to get no cap income? What do I have to do? Because I'm sucking and drowning in this healthcare industry. I hate it, but I had to go to school after high school to do something. Every girl in the hood goes to nursing school, right? Over the years of being there, like you said, the office environment is corporate. It's a bunch of women. I'm not really a girl that's like girly girl, right? Like I love my women, my circle. Like, yeah, we vibe this, that. But as far as that office thing, the talking, the gossiping, I'm more about the work. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
where the patients at, where the charts at, I'm busting through conversations about baby daddies and all that. Cause I'm like, where is the work? I'm here
Yeah.
to work. I need to get out of here because I'm focusing on me. I got so much other stuff I'm doing. But them women were really like, that was their life.
I know.
And I did not. And I really could say too, what started to get me to dream bigger than my environment is when I started traveling too. All through my early 20s and all that, I started
Exposure.
traveling. The first place is Miami, Atlanta, all these places when you dying to get out of the hood. When I started to travel and was coming home broke and was like spending everything you had just to get these experiences, and I was partying and wasn't really understanding the experience because you're running from you trying to escape something. That's first and foremost, right? I'm spending everything I have, even if I come home broke, because I'm running from something.
Hmm.
This looks so much good and the visual for me than this do. This is dark, cold, and lonely. This is me really being somebody that I'm not trying to figure things out. But the traveling and when I come over here, it's giving me everything. I'm trying to, I'm happy in it. I'm living in the moment.
You know what? As you were saying that, and then I said, yeah, because you're getting exposed, like you're exposing yourself, exposure. Instantly, what happens that is like when you get exposed to something new, you need to go into quarantine by yourself for a little bit so
That's
you
what
don't
I
get
did.
influenced. Yes.
That's
So that's
exactly
actually,
what I do. I love being by myself so much that people hate it. Like, oh my God. I just
yes.
I just had to create my peace. When you create your peace, anything outside of that, I'm not willing to do. I like being with my friends and I like being with my family. I do, but I be by myself more. and I
Mhm.
don't know what it is. I know that it's a good thing. And I think that I'm stuck in like this alone type of situation. And I think that is life for me because it's what helped me get through the storms.
Do you feel that, like do you feel like God is nudging you to start coming back out and start to connect with other people or even, like, relationships? Do you feel that pull? Is that making you uncomfortable?
It's not making me uncomfortable because I love it. I love to do it. I don't know if I told you I did a really dope event at Fifth Third Bank last week. Um,
Mm-mm.
and I had a really get some really great connections. I got some good stuff going on with that too, longevity
Oh,
wise. So I'm back out there with my mindset and money meetups. We're just taking this mindset and money thing to another level for 2023. I'm super excited about it. Um, but even yet and still, when I do what I need to do, and I'm right back in my space.
yeah.
I'm not, before or after I'll do events and things like that, or even going to events. I'll like go out for drinks and we'll go eat and all of this stuff. Like, Chris, I'm right back in my space. I'm like, all right, where y'all going? My girlfriend's like, sometimes, I'll do stuff. Yeah, I do. Not all the time. I come right back home. But for the most part, I am very in control of myself.
Mhm.
So much so that sometimes if I can't read or understand people, it throws me off. And that's not good. I don't think that that's good because that person may not have bad intent or whatever the case may be. But I just like to know people and I like to know, we be trying to figure people out because I'm very well at that, reading out body language. And I just like to know what I'm dealing with. And I think I'm working on getting better with that because you're not going to always know. But I feel like too, Chris, that's only a problem in my personal life. That's not a problem in business. Because you
Right.
and I didn't know each other. I have so many women that I meet and deal with, even men, right? I don't have a problem with doing business with them. I'll be on it. I am not afraid of the new. That's all I want is the new, right?
Mhm.
But when it comes to my personal life, I'll be kind of like,
That's what I was asking. That I should have been more
yeah,
clear. That's
I'll
what I
be
was asking. No,
like,
not this.
I don't know. Like I'd be so skeptical. I'd be like, oh, I gotta try to figure this person out. And it probably just come from bad experience or working with so many women through the years and everybody just having agendas and things that you thought were going to last or stuff you want. People get intimidated by you. My work ethic is more different than them. I'm coming stronger and harder. People, they don't, everybody is different. So when it comes to my personal life, I'm very, very skeptical with the new. Not the routines, not the restaurants, not the traveling, but the close relationships.
Yeah.
They're I gotta give it some time.
It's
But
the int it's the
if it's about
intimacy.
business, I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
what you got going on? What you doing? Like, oh my God, girl, we on the phone every day. But when it comes to someone trying to get into the personal thing, and I don't know, maybe it's more mental, or maybe I'm feeling like maybe I need to back up off the control. I don't know. But anything else, I'm like, I'm with it. Let's do it.
I
But
think
I
I
need to get
think
better with that personal side.
I think with that, a lot of times you as a woman, you're used to leading, right? So you have this vision, you want to go. And I think sometimes when we allow the man to come in, because he's supposed to be a leader too, right? That's his position. It's not that you're going to be beneath him and be a servant. It's not that. A lot of times, sometimes um past roles it was like that, right? There's some women that still operating on that mindset, but he wants you to support, like, he's supporting you 100%, and he just wants you to support that he's supporting you sometimes, or it's that he just wants to lead you and say, hey, have you tried something like this? And it's how he's speaking in a kind way. He's not telling you like, hey, you don't need that, right? It's a kindness, it's an invitation. And I think a lot of times with that invitation, sometimes there's intimacy, right? Because invitation means, oh, you picked me, we're going in this area. Wait a minute, you trying to touch on me? I don't know. Wait, you want to relax? I can't
Right.
relax. I got this going on, this going on. So I think it's a way like you operating woo, 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 woo. And then it's like when this intimacy happens, that's why sometimes I struggle listening to slow music. I do. Because it makes you want to slow down and just I like classical music, but it's still kind of up tempo. But it's like slow, and I don't like slow R&B. Like once in a while, listen like old school, and I'm trying to train myself to be like, okay, listen. My husband likes listening to that. Right? He'll
Oh
try
yeah.
to dance with me in the kitchen, and I'll be like, I ain't got time. Like I gotta do this. I gotta get back to work. I gotta go. And I'm
But you
like,
really try to shy away from it.
it is. It is an excuse. My work is an excuse, and I've told him this verbally, so he'll still like kind of play with me and stuff. He's very funny, and
That's
I was
his
just
way of
like,
trying to get you more open, and it works.
yes,
It works.
yeah. So, but yeah, so it might be the intimacy part a lot of times because you're leading and people are always coming to you for everything, and then when you're in a relationship, it's like it's a relationship because when you're at work, you don't always have relationships. It's because someone needs hey, we need to get this done, we need to get this done, we get that, and you're used to that and you're okay with that. But then when it's a relationship, no, we don't have to get anything done. I just want to enjoy you. Then you're like, wait, what? There's no agenda? Like, there's no ending? When is this? What is this? What is this you give me? Like, what are
That's
you
so
gonna do this?
true. That's
Yeah.
so
So it's
true.
so I think I think that might be a new shift that's gonna be happening because all these women are coming up and leading, 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 and then there's gonna be a lack of intimacy. It is.
Woo.
And there's going to have to be a retraining on what is intimacy and being okay with that because then the men are going to feel like, well, you don't need me, and you don't want them to feel like that, right? I don't want
Exactly.
none of my
That's the
sons to feel like,
thing. That's the
yeah,
thing. You have to make him feel worthy and at the same time keep your position. That's why I say,
yep,
relationships is work. It's definitely a partnership is work. That's that thing right there within itself will expose you to a whole new woman, so to speak. You will become a whole new woman with bringing someone into your life and doing these things. Because I know for me, all of that stuff is different. And I know when, if I'm in something serious or when I get in a committed relationship, that's going to be a whole new level of a woman I'm creating, right? We did the other side already. Now it's time to do the real work, right? Nobody
yep,
wants to do by themselves. That's more work as well. It's all self-development, but in different ways.
100%. And I think when people are listening, not people, excuse me, when women are listening to this, you're actually saying, okay, I do want to change. Like it's a whisper right now because you're like, I know something's a little off. I do want to change. I want to be more intimate and inviting, but I don't want to be hurt, right? But you don't have to build that wall because a lot of times people build these walls. You're building yourself inside the wall too, and I guarantee you didn't put no windows in there. So you in this
Yeah.
dark place, and you don't want to be in this dark place. You want to be free. That's what it is. You just want to be free, free of your choices, free from guilt, free from minimizing yourself, free to love. And I think it's a really retrain on like what love is, how to love, right? And even though we use kindness in the last, this actually went to another YouTube. I just want to let you know that. We just knocking these out. But
And then not to cut you off too, but okay, so for me, even though I'm getting ready to be 40, only been in two real relationships, right? My son's father and then my marriage. Everybody's love language is different,
yep,
right? So we be having in our minds, oh, he ain't do this, or oh, he might not be into me, and just different stuff. And that comes from because you're used to what you're used to. I'm
hmm,
like, I'm not old, but yeah, like I'm up there. Only been in two real relationships, right? Not besides all that other stuff growing up. Only really had two real relationships, right? I don't think it's enough experience for one. I don't think it was enough open-mindedness for one because I knew what I knew. So now it's a completely life change for me. Everybody love language is different. Was used to my ex-husband doing things a certain way. Like I knew him. You know what I'm saying? And then you be with a person for so long, you get used to different things. But as we grow and come mature, more wiser, more experienced, you're going to meet different people who love in different ways. And it doesn't mean that he's not into you, or he doesn't want this relationship, or he don't think you're right for him, or none of these things. That's being in your own mind. He may do feel that way, but he's probably showing it in a way that he shows it. They're not going to show it in a way of what your ex done, or in a way that we want them to do it. And it really doesn't mean that he don't want it or he's not down with it. It's just going to mean that he may be doing it in a different way. That may not be his style of doing things. I know for me, that's the biggest thing of uncomfortableness for me, is learning and figuring out the new. And the thing that throws me off as well, is the patience in that area. Because I'm just like, I'm not a person that like to waste time. I'm like, what are we doing? All these things real quick, because that's just so much of what I'm used to. And I'm probably thinking of it in a business perspective, or in a perspective of this is what I want, but everybody operate differently.
Absolutely. I think speaking of like the love languages, right? If you just look at it as a language, it takes time and patience to learn a different language, learn how to speak to, um, because there's such culture behind that too. People are bringing their different cultures into relationships. And when we're doing that, we have to have some patience. They like eating certain things, they like doing certain things a certain way. And let's combine that together. So like let's use business for example. They're talking about diversity, right? So if you look at that in your relationship, there is diversity doesn't mean you make everybody look the same. That's controlling. It's you allowing people to express who they are and respecting them enough and loving them enough to be who they are.
That's
And I
true.
think in relationships, it's like that too. But you're recommitting because you're growing. They're learning from you and you're learning from them, but you have to come willing to learn and be open. A lot of times we come with, well, a checklist. We come with, no, you have a checklist for your house. You should have checklists for objects, not people, right?
That's true. That's
And the
true.
same thing, even like when people are like, oh, I have this thing about my husband. Okay, don't have a list. You need to be, again, remember we talked about this last time, like you be a wife now, right? And then you can say you like these attributes about, oh, I would like, someone to be funny. I would like, but you can't put like a face and say who they are and say this is all because that's going to get you caught up. Physical is going to get you caught up quicker than anything. So the same thing why sometimes women aren't getting jobs because how they look, you're rejecting men for how they look. And they could be and you probably think, when you get rejected from a job, you're like, I'm a really good worker. Like I really love doing this. I actually have you said I didn't have enough experience. I have 10 years of experience in here. So the man you're rejecting because how he looks. He's like, I'm really a good guy. I've been studying and I've been working on myself and you reject him because how he looks. You can't do that same thing, you
That's
know.
true.
But a lot of us are doing that, when we're dating. I'll say it like that when we're dating or even when we're married you're putting other people in boxes because you're in a box. What does that
That's
look like? You
true.
moving? Where are you
That's
moving
true.
to? Like, just stop it. Stop having a bunch of boxes. Like, let's unpack some things.
That's
Let's throw away
true.
some things that are not serving us.
I learned that 2 years ago. 2 whole years ago. Like, girl, what is all this stuff you talking about? You ain't never going to get nobody. 2 years ago, Chris, I learned that, like, girl, who do you think you are? I really had to ask myself, like, girl, ain't nobody there. I really had to be, my best friend was like, you might as well just sit on the couch and do your business then. Ain't nobody gonna be with you. Like, all you want to do is just do this business. I was like, I really had to ask myself, like, girl, you know how much work you done done on yourself. Ain't nobody out here coming to the table with all of this BS stuff that you think is supposed to be ready and available. I said 2 years ago, Chris, I had to go back to the table. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have things that, like, yes, I will have deal breakers, But I do have my so I call it like my husband manifestation list little type thing where I say my little affirmations every morning when I brush my teeth. And I do it. I don't know, when is the time or whatever the case may be, but I'm just like, get over yourself. I really had to sit myself down. Like, who do you think you are? Because this whole thing that you're doing, girl, you're gonna be single for a very long time. So, and I'm like, I don't want to be. We want to have someone we can build and learn and grow with. I'm not like you gotta be perfect and be in a space that I am. Everybody's space or timing in their life is different. But I don't want him to already be this person. Like I want to learn and grow with him and build with
Yep.
him.
Yep.
He may not be a guy that's into business or desire to be my business partner. I may can't do business with him. I would love to because that ideal thing of running a business with my partner, I love that idea, right? But the person that I fall in love with or who loves me, that may not be ideal for us. So I'm going to have to understand that as well. Um, because everything is just not for everybody, and you have to understand it. So I'm like, remove all of this business stuff out, and like be more realistic. But definitely, I was like, yo, this is too much stuff. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, like 2 years ago again, I'm like, you pretty successful. You do well for yourself. All of these things. You think you got to figure it out and all of this. Like, what if you meet someone that feels the same way? You may not be enough for him. Then how would you feel?
Dang, that's deep. It's true.
I don't desire to be with a corporate CEO guy, right? That's not my ideal guy. But he may not be that, but he may be more established in life or experienced in life than I am. And what if he feel like I'm not enough for him? It can go both ways. It is a lot of
That's
successful black
humbling.
successful black men out here, just depending on what space I meet him in, the timing and what building I'm in, how it's going to come. That can be a thing. I would be hurt if I felt like I wasn't enough for a person that I really felt like I wanted to be with, right? So then I think of it from a different perspective. What if you meet somebody and this guy really want to be with you, but you have in your mind that he's not your ideal guy? You didn't messed up on a whole situation, right? So I don't want that to happen again because it has happened. So I'm just like, take all of this stuff out. Do have some boundaries and deal breakers and so forth, but all of that superficial stuff is like, and I can tell you that stuff been in my mind, and that's things in my mind of my ideal guy from how I grew up. So
Mm.
now again, I worked on certain processes and steps of self-development of who I was growing up, right? To be where I'm at now. But now when it comes to these men and those type of relationships, I still got more stuff that I need to get rid of the old way of thinking because that's where it come from. Come from what you
Absolutely.
know already.
It does. And because you're holding that as a standard, but you can always create a new standard in your
Yep.
life. It's not like, oh, I have to do this 'cause I did like it last time. No, you don't. You can create a new standard for yourself, right? And how you do things, how you operate things. But I think it's really about accepting. So if I notice, like, even for me, right, you're not mostly accepting people because you're not accepting yourself yet. So you can't accept when people are doing things
Mm,
differently. And when you come into that state, you actually have to go through awareness, right? First, you're ignorant of it, and then you're coming to awareness, and that's how you actually gain wisdom. So just observing and reflecting, like, that's powerful, right? That
exactly.
just takes courage to do that. Um, I think too, the thing with the husband list, the it is clear about, like, okay, I don't you said it, like, I don't wanna be treated, and you're like, "You know what? Sometimes you don't know what you need until you're actually experiencing it, and then you're like,
Girl,
'Oh, wow, I actually
girl,
this
girl,
person making me
girl.
f yeah, this person wow, this person actually brought something. Oh, this person actually made me realize I actually have this other trait that I need to work on,' right?" Without them saying anything, just in their presence, because a lot of times you know, we get broken by people, but we also get healed by people.
Mm,
And we stop that process when we don't allow relationships to form because we have old stuff.
I definitely agree.
So
I
I
definitely
think
agree.
I think for the woman that's watching this and then she's maybe blaming other people, like, yeah, I'm not happy because you don't make me happy. Nah, you got to bring that back into yourself. Be happy now, right? Enjoy your life now. Enjoy yourself first. That's before you can even enjoy your life. Enjoy yourself. Flaws and all. You got flaws. You put your lashes on wrong today. My eyes are poofy because like that conference was good yesterday. My eyes, I was crying a little bit. And I was like, wait, I was not prepared to shed any tears, any stories, anything.
It's
Um,
necessary. It's
yes.
necessary. It ain't nothing wrong with it. That means you in a good space.
Yes. So it's like just, just embracing yourself and loving yourself and know that your past is not your future. It's not an indicator of how things are going to turn out. That's just your past. You can release that. If your parents did a certain way, you don't have to do that because we talked about traditional versus transformational mindset. Tradition, same place, same pace. People are bringing the same type of food, same people showing up. Wearing the same outfit, wearing the same ugly Christmas sweater. So things are like that's happening, and it's predictable. But a lot of times, like transformation, which Lucretia hit on, she likes the new. Yes, we like the new. And transformation is about new. And new can be scary because you don't know what new looks like sometimes. And you don't know you're experiencing new until you're experiencing it. You're like, wait a minute, hold on. What's happening right now? Like, wait, hold on, where are we going? What is going on? So there's a lot of new experiences that are happening. And I feel like there's a lot of new experience happening now over these next 3 months.
Yes,
We're in our last quarter. And you can still experience new. The same things that you've had on your vision board from earlier this year can still happen within these 3 months. You want to finish that book, you want to start journaling. Don't put journaling off till next year. You can start that now. You know how much more powerful you'll be within the next 90 days if you start
exactly.
journaling now. You'll be sitting here commenting, saying, "Oh my goodness, I realized this about myself." And yes, we invite that. Don't put those things off because then you're operating out of time again, right? You're operating out of time. So let's release that and then just do it now. Do it today. Start now. Just journal. My name is if you want to start. If you want to start off with that, trust me, more stuff will come after that. But just you starting is important.
I agree. I definitely agree. And stay on those affirmations, speaking to yourself, speaking to yourself, speaking to yourself. I don't know if you so I had posted in a group the other day. I think Courtney or somebody was saying something, but we was talking about procrastination and things like that. I don't know if you had
Oh, I
time
didn't see that.
I don't know if you
Uh-uh.
had time to scroll. So I was like, people reach out to me for their hype.
What do you mean by that?
So, like maybe they're lacking confidence of getting started on a project, maybe they're
Mm.
uncertain on it, or maybe they're downplaying something with a relationship, whatever the case may be. People reach out to me to be their hype person. Cause I'm always like, yeah, like, of
Mhm.
course, why? Okay, well, do it this way. That might work. All right, call me back. Bye. Stuff like that. But where do I get mine from? I literally, so that's what I had said in the group. Like, everybody has to find their hype, right? I get mine from literally in the mirror, girl, you need to do it. Literally, I would be downplaying something or so sketchy or wanting to push through. And I'm all about, not procrastinating, keep your feet on the gas. I'm like, girl, you got this. To my clients and everything, right? People around me. But who fuels that into me? I have to.
Yeah.
I was had pumped the brakes and had so much other different stuff going on with the revamping of the mindset and money planner, and then pivoting the coaching program starting January 2023, just working on things, right? And I'm like, well, why you ain't do this? You're supposed to have done that last week. Like, that's a very small task. You haven't, why didn't you commit? And I said, So I literally have to hype myself up in the morning every day. Like, okay, you want to slam this photo shoot? Stop worrying about how stuff going to fit. Your stomach look good, girl. Everything is going to be fine. Like, I have to do that. And it works. I have to do that and it works. When I was on the panel at the event at Fifth Third Bank, I was literally sitting with the branch manager next to him. And then it was someone else on the side, another business owner. But I got called in on this event the last minute, but it was by somebody that reached out and was like, hey, I've been watching you for a minute. I have yet to get connected with you. I need you. Please tell me you can do this. Plus, I got some awesome people I want you to meet. I'm like, bet I'm there. But when I hang up the phone or the day before, I'm like, oh my God, what am I wear? I gotta make a really good impression because yeah, I need this connection with this bank. That's the big thing for me. I don't care about being on a panel. I already know I'm gonna slam it, right? The
Mm-hmm.
big thing is the relationships I'm going to meet when I get there because I'm super big on relationships, right? So I'm like, I gotta look pretty. I gotta do. How did I hype myself up to go in there and slam that in the mirror by myself? Stopped and got my what did I have? Like a chai tea or something. And so much so that the ladies that was there told the guy who had the event, like, yo, when we do these, we need to have this girl. Who is this girl? So much
Yep.
so that he was like, yo, I need you to come to the studio. We need to talk. I got some things going on. I want to fill you in. I want to know what you think. Boom, let's do it.
Have you know
How
what? I'm
did
gonna
I?
ask.
I had
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
hype myself up to go into this because it was a big deal for me. It wasn't just regular. And then also, I will say too, there's a lot of our counterparts in there. Like, I'm not intimidated in rooms with them, but when I'm in rooms with a lot of them, I tend to really, really show up. I'm going to, not that I'm not bringing my all every other time, but when I'm in a room with them, I'm going to really, really show up and show out. And that's just something mentally that it does for me when I see them and I'm speaking. I may look at them in the audience or they ask questions and converse because you're going to know me for who I am, what I'm doing in this community, what I stand for, and the amount of women I'm able to impact. Because I don't want you to talk to me about anything else besides how we can help each other.
Absolutely. And that takes a lot of strategy, discipline to even be organized and that focus on what the goal is. Because sometimes we can get lost in our own feelings and emotions, right? I froze up yesterday when I was on stage.
You
I
did.
did. I did. And I was like, because I already did the panel discussions this past week. I did
But did you,
the
how did you
recording.
keep going? Did you kind of
I
like,
I cut it short. And I was just like, it was just and that's something I'm reflecting on now. I'm like, what happened? And I think it was the sound of my own voice that triggered something for me to hear because I don't hear echoes like when I'm practicing and stuff like that. But then I think on there, I was just hearing myself and I was like, and I was dehydrated. So I don't know. All that could have played a part. And I said, okay, I need more water next time. I need, and I was
maybe
like,
you was
so
like really excited?
yeah, my mouth was dry. Like it was dry. Like I kept smiling the whole time. Literally, I don't know if you smile so much that like your lips get stuck on your teeth and you like, okay, I don't know what notices that, but like I'm
Smile
smiling,
a
my
lot
cheeks
when I'm
hurt.
nervous. I'll smile a lot when I'm nervous too.
Okay.
I'll just keep
Yeah,
doing it. Like I
I
do
do the
it.
same
I
thing.
do because it works for me. Like
Uh-huh.
you don't need to be chewing gum. So what I'll
Mhm.
do is I'll just keep smiling like, okay, like, so how are you guys feeling?
Yeah.
Trying to put this whole facade on in
Uh,
between time, but I think like Steve Harvey or somebody was like, people don't know. They don't know that to a certain extent. Like they may feel that you're trying to get some energy from them or something, but everybody do different things when they're nervous. But for me, Or even when I'm tired, so to speak, and like that situation, that panel, like 8 o'clock at night, like 8 to 9, like I go to bed really early because I wake
Oh,
up really
yep.
early. So to be dressed and like have to have energy out and about at 8 p.m., that was a whole deal for me. But I'm like, okay, I got, so I was just like, hey, how everybody doing? And they was like, who is this? Like this girl is just, and I really was doing nothing, showing a lot of nervousness too. But just really just was being me and just rock it out. That's all.
Yeah.
I have certain things I do when I'm shy or when I'm nervous or in a room where I might not know where or how I'm gonna attack first. And I'm like, I'm gonna just do this and all right, I'm gonna get myself out of here. Like before I get out of the car, or certain events, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give myself 2 hours. You bet have met 5 quality people by then. You bet have talked to such and such. And I really apply that type of pressure. I really do. Because I feel like we need to move more intentional. When we're being very intentional, that's when I'm very productive. When I'm very productive, I get results.
Yes. And busy and productive are two different things.
Yes.
You could be busy doing nothing all day.
Yes.
Oh, I've been writing. I've been re-listening to this course. Did you implement anything yet? I mean, I have to check myself that too. And I'm like, okay, what's happening? Because like,
I encourage you ladies to definitely share and help someone else and subscribe to the channel so we're going to hold you accountable. Make sure you subscribe because we need you to be here because we all going to help each other in this thing. And we're going to show up, we're going to stay committed to our end, but we want you to show up and hold yourself accountable and responsible on your end as well.